All right. Well, welcome to Winter in Eden, to the Noble Shire for progressive discussion. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to discuss your latest album, Never Untold. It's a fantastic album. You really should get out there and listen to it if you haven't. It was released on July 3rd, and these guys have a very solid reputation in the UK and really throughout Europe. And this new album, Never Untold, according to their PR release, blends soaring melodies, a cinematic atmosphere, and compelling storytelling. And I have Vicky Johnson and I think Steve
Yep,
Johnson,
yep.
Vicky and Steve Johnson. Vicky is the lead singer, and Steve plays keyboards, bass, and does all the orchestration. And probably together they lead the team. Well,
Yeah.
I'll let you tell us about that. So go ahead and introduce yourself, and then just describe how the band got started, how you emerged, and um, your background.
Yeah. Well, how far back do you want to go?
So I'm Vicky Johnson. You're Steve Johnson.
Mhm.
So the band goes back, quite a way now. There were five of us, kind of local people, musicians that joined together out of the ashes of another band, and it was a little bit like a melting pot, really, because we were all from different kind of backgrounds, listen to different types of music. And I remember the drummer at the time saying, "You really need to listen to this band called Nightwish." And it kind of really evolved after that because we
Mhm.
all really liked the sound of that. And so we started writing together, and Winter in Eden was born from there, really. As time has gone on, obviously people have left the band, others have joined, and after we released our fourth album, Social Fake, we decided as a band to kind of call it a day. So it has always been a democracy. So everybody's voice kind of counted, really. And when we came to that point, Steve and I have known each other since we were 12. We've written together since we were about 15, I would say,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. And so we knew that we were going to carry on writing and doing something. And when we started that process, and we announced the fact that Winter and Eden was going um, to split up, the reaction that we had, and then when we did kind of start our different project, which we called Never Untold, believe it or not, which kind of brings us full circle with the name of the album. And we realised that there was still a demand for the Winter in Eden. And when we tried to release something through Never Untold, the label had said to us, "Why are you not going out with Winter in Eden?" And yeah, so we discussed it with the kind of previous band members, and they weren't keen on us taking the name as such to start with, but that changed over time, hence kind of coming back out as Winter in Eden, and then obviously trying to merge the two. So we decided to release the album called Never Untold, and that's kind of bringing us up to date,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
So now we've sort of reformed. It's
Yes.
it's the two of us that
Yeah.
lead
It's
it.
basically Winter in Eden is essentially Steve and I, and we work with guest musicians. So that's where we are at the moment. I mean, we're currently working with a room on guitars and on drums as well. And it's been going so well,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
isn't it, with
yeah.
those two? So, and they played, Owen played all of the drums on the album. Arun played quite a few tracks on the album. We also had Rude as well, who we've worked with previously, who performed some guitars on the album as well. So yes, that probably brings us up to date, really.
Definitely. Yeah, it does. And so before, just to kind of go back one little
Yeah.
last step, um, what got you into thinking I got to be on the stage, I got to sing, I got to play music, I it's part of my soul, I cannot neglect it. You may, and yeah, you may have other jobs besides this, but what was it that said I've got to do this?
I think
Was it
for me, it
hearing another band, or just go ahead?
yeah, well, I've always sort of tinkered with keyboards when I was like toy ones when I was really young, but it wasn't until I was at secondary school that we started get some practical music lessons, and I just remember this is showing my age, but we all went into a room. We all started playing. Obviously, I didn't know chords or anything like that time, and we all sat in a room. We all had to play one note of each chord, and it was for
Was it
it
Everything
was
I
everything
Do?
I do it for you,
Brian
Brian
Adams.
Adams. I
Ah,
think it was in the charts at the time. It was the early 90s,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there and hearing music that wasn't pre-recorded and thinking, and I got sort of goose, you know, when the hairs stand up on the back of your neck, and it just sounded like this is real. This is real music. It's not a recording. And I think that was the light switch for me. And then obviously I've spent lots of time after school, break times, lunch times, just pestering the teachers, let me play the keyboards, and that's how I sort of started learning. I sort of taught myself at that stage, and started a school band. Hence
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
met you.
I mean, for me, I was playing piano when I was 5. My mum had a mission for me to kind of master the piano. It wasn't something I was very passionate about, to be honest with you. Um, but my mum's quite a determined person. Yeah, what I found was when I started playing the piano, I started kind of deviating from what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't quite keen on the kind of classical pieces that I was supposed to be doing, and then started writing my own songs. So really, for me, it came with me writing songs and then singing along to those songs, and that's how it started. And so I had a passion from a very kind of young age. I started playing the violin when I was about 7 or 8 as well. And again, it wasn't something that, I fell in love with. I fell in love with songwriting essentially. And I was loving, what I was listening to. And yeah, I think I knew very early on when I was starting to write that I really, really wanted to do this. And over here we have something called Top of the Pops.
Oh, we did.
Or we did,
Did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just really, really wanted to go on Top of the Pops and do one of my songs. And then when I went to secondary school, I met Steve, like he said, there was these practical lessons, and it was like kind of every lunchtime, etc. And I think you'd already started a school band.
Yeah. We wanted another keyboard player, didn't we?
Well, this is the
Or
story of my life. This is the
Yeah.
story of my life. I always kind of join as the extra keyboard player or whatever, and then I start singing, and then I stop playing the keyboard,
Yeah.
stroke piano, and that just kind of becomes the main thing, which is fine by me, to be honest with you, because like I say, that's not really where my passion is. But yeah, it just grew from there. And so we, as a school band, we went and we were playing shopping centres, we went to care homes,
Schools,
to kind of the
yeah.
marketplace. I remember we went to the Metro Centre, didn't we?
Yeah, which is a big indoor mall, if you like.
Yeah, it was like a shopping mall, and we just played everywhere, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we also started entering songwriting competitions as well. And we got to the finals a few times, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but it was funny because Steve and I were kind of in separate bands, but then eventually came together. We were like rivals at one point, weren't we? And then we kind of came together. I was like the second vocalist, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you had an amazing, the vocalist they had was absolutely amazing. She was really, she sounded like Karen Carpenter. She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of took it in turns and then did duets and everything. And so that's how it started for us. And then obviously Steve and I began a relationship as well. And so, yeah, it just kind of went from there. So it's always been kind of the thing that brought us together. It's that love of music, really, that and it's continued as a passion with us ever since then. We've gone out as kind of a duo. We did the club circuit. We went
totally different genre,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. So and then kind of went on into bands and then Winter and Eden. So we've worked together for a long time. So we know how kind of we tick and write together as well. So
that's the good thing with you being a musician, not just a singer. Not that singers aren't musicians. It's a lot easier to sort of communicate in when we're writing and be able to speak about the technicalities of things. We sort of know what each other's talking about.
Yeah, and we're from completely different backgrounds, because what Steve didn't say is that he does have, you can play, you were taught how to play was it the no, it wasn't it
trombone.
The trombone.
Yeah, that was came further. Yeah.
So you had that, but essentially self-taught, whereas I came from a completely different kind of, I went through all my grades with the piano and everything. So yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds
good.
We'd
go deep.
I'm sorry.
I told you we'd go deep into it.
There's no short answers with
that. I'm telling you, for kids, and most people think, there's no kids listening, but there may be. And for them to hear that, and this is how you get started. Yeah. Very good. No, don't feel bad.
But when I mentioned about the hair stand on the back of my neck when we were playing that song, when we write a new song or we play on stage, I get that same feeling. It takes me right back to that moment. And we have done a little bit of teaching in the past, and if I can get kids to be so passionate about the music like that, then that's fantastic.
I mean, we were really lucky because round about when we started secondary school, there was a teacher that kind of joined the music department who was very, very much kind of it was a practical kind of side of it. Let's develop your songwriting skills. Let's get you to kind of play together. More doing kind of pop stroke rock type material. And it just really sparked our interest, because literally every kind of break time, lunchtime, after school, that's where we were. That's what we were doing. And, we absolutely loved it. And luckily for us, he kind of embraced that too and put in the time and effort with us. So we were really grateful that we had him as a teacher as well.
You wonder that, hair standing on the back of your neck, you wonder if people like Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney still feel that. I think they do. I really do. Even at that age, when you're wanting to put the time and effort, these guys can do whatever they want. They have all the money in the world. And for them to sit down and force themselves to make albums at this age, it must still do that. Yeah, there must be that effect.
Yeah, I think music is definitely something that's in your blood. And it might be that you kind of get jaded with the business side of things. Sure. But you always come back to you always come back to it. I've seen a few people kind of say, right, that's it. I'm giving up. I mean, we've done the same, and like but you always end up seeing those people kind of few years down the line, the spark's still there. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of musicians are not doing this, to sell out arenas and all the rest of it. They do it because you have that passion, whether there's any money involved in it or not. It's just something that you love to do. That's actually a part of your identity.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. All right. And will you tour the new album? I think you have had a couple shows, but will there be like a full tour, and will you play the whole album?
So I wouldn't say there's going to be kind of a tour as such. We've got a listening kind of party coming up, which is where we are going to be kind of playing the full album. And what we found is that, you know, we have our audience, we found, is not kind of just UK based, it's kind of global. And so therefore we wanted a way of kind of reaching everyone, which was why we decided to do this kind of online listening party as such. But at the same time, we wanted to kind of, because we released during the kind of festival season, to wait until the festival season had finished so that people weren't kind of conflicted with the timing. But we do have some kind of festivals coming up as well. We're headlining a festival at the end of November called Danfest, where we will be playing quite a big chunk of the album. We were just talking about the set list today, actually, and that we're going to play the whole of the Sleepwalk trilogy, but kind of back to back. And we love being able to do that type of thing. So yeah, so we do have bits coming up.
We've got another festival in January.
In January as well. So
Planet Rock Radio.
So
it's the Winter's End.
Winter's End as well. So yeah.
Now, I've been listening to you guys for a while, but I was waiting for a new album to come out. And now that it did, I was like, we definitely got to talk to them, got to review an album of theirs. But yeah, you guys are famous throughout the UK for sure. What are some of your hobbies when you're not making music? And you're both probably, do you work within music, or do you have outside jobs that are completely different? And then what are your hobbies? What are the things you like to do?
I was going to say, quite early on, we did decide, even though we had a passion for music, we didn't want to put all our eggs in one basket. We have had spells where we did things full time, but obviously we wanted to raise a family, we wanted to obviously be able to buy a house and things like that. So we thought, right, we've got to be realistic about it. So basically, I trained to become a electrical inspector, and that's what I did for a long time.
And I did a law degree, so I work in the legal profession as well. So that's the majority of my time essentially, and massively kind of influences me with my lyrics as well, the kind of day-to-day things that I see. So yes, that's kind of the work, the boring stuff as such. But outside of that, I think you love your kind of, we're quite different in you're quite a science based, aren't you? And I'm very much kind of like looking at all of your psychology and like your mindfulness and all of this type of thing. This has really kind of been a big love of mine the last few years, and all that self-help kind of stuff. Yeah.
So you look in and I look up. Yeah. I've got a telescope in the corner over there, and
there you go.
Do astronomy clubs and things like that. And
we love kind of spend time with the family, and we love escape rooms. That's one of our big things as well. And you've grown a massive whiskey collection as well, haven't you? So that, anytime we kind of get the chance to go
to a distillery somewhere up in Scotland or even Wales. Wales have got some nice distilleries.
So
that, I'll tell you, that law degree comes in handy too with music and, like she said, lyrics and writing. That is and I don't know if you guys saw this on Facebook, but there was, and I don't remember, I'm not gonna even if I did, I don't remember, but there was one booking agency, or I should say show, that wasn't paying people. And I was like,
oh yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I do. I mean, we've had a few.
They don't pull that with you. You probably come out right away and say, don't do this because I am a lawyer. And that's what I would do.
Well, we've had quite a few kind of offers over the time that I think other people may have jumped on.
Like record label.
Yeah, and
signed.
I've been extremely cautious because doing what I do, I kind of always look at like both sides of the argument, and I'm very cautious, possibly too cautious sometimes when it comes to taking risks, etc. But yeah, there's been a few occasions where, you know, we've not gone with something because, and that has sometimes caused tension within the band, because I've said that I didn't want to sign something that others have wanted to sign. But it has worked out in the end, you know. So I very much go with my gut on things too. So that if something just doesn't feel right, doesn't smell right, I don't care if people think, right, this is a massive opportunity, we've got to do this or whatever, you know. I would rather not sign than go with something that just doesn't feel right for me.
You know how to take it apart and look at all the pieces, and that's very,
yeah. And I mean, obviously, the type. Yeah, exactly. The area that I kind of look at is not like music related at all, but the skill set still kind of there, really. But it does help because sometimes you can kind of walk into a room and say, look, you know, my life doesn't depend on this. You know, you give me an offer, I'll think about it, but you know, I'm quite happy to walk away. And I don't think enough people are prepared to do that. I think they just see kind of the stars and what have you, and so I think I'm very kind of grounded from that side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely important. Let's see. All right, in the city that you guys live, and by the way, where are you from?
So we're in the northeast of England. So we live in a county called County Durham. As soon as you put county on there, people think it's Ireland, but it's not. We're kind of northeast England. So
well, as far up as you can go before you get to Scotland.
Pretty much. So we're kind of the nearest city to us is Durham, but a lot of people know kind of Newcastle upon Tyne.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
And what are some of your favorite places to visit, or if somebody was to come through there, where would you suggest you definitely have to eat here, or you definitely have to visit this scenic, you know, whatever you tell me.
I mean, I went to Durham University, and it's there's quite a lot of you know, there's the Harry Potter kind of side of things. So there's a lot of kind of filming that went on there. It's funny because when I started my degree, they were just starting to record the Harry Potter films, and I didn't know anything about kind of Harry Potter. I just saw the trailers around and people were telling me about it, and it just it went right over my head.
She could have walked right past.
I could have walked past it.
Yeah,
not being aware at all. Yeah, so I mean Durham, you've got to kind of have a look at Durham.
It's a city, but it's a relatively small, compact city.
Very small.
But it's got a lot of history. It's
the cathedral, the castle, etc. It's kind of, it's got to be done. But there's been a lot of development in that. Our hometown is Bishop Auckland, and there's been a lot of kind of development here. I mean, I don't know what it's like in the States at the moment, but a lot of our kind of high streets are suffering because it's more out of town centres that people are going to. So our kind of town centre, it's going downhill, a lot of empty shops, etc. But there's been quite a bit of development kind of gone on with there was a millionaire decided to kind of move in
by the
castle, and it's now the palace, and has put kind of a lot of money into the community, and so we now have this
we've got a big theme park. It's opened up. It's not a theme park as in Disneyland or anything like that. It's more about the history of the area.
And very shows.
And shows. So it's called Kinran, and it's a huge cast, and it is really good. We have been, but we want to go again.
So that would definitely be something that we would recommend.
Yeah.
But
I think there's an American guy that's actually went
Yeah.
and did it because he's been
yes, it
around about.
has. Yeah,
what Americans should do in.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to. I mean, if you came over here, you've got. I mean, one of my favourite kind of meals as such as a Sunday dinner.
Roast.
You've got to kind of have that, and everywhere does a Sunday lunch on a Sunday, don't they? So it's
what makes up the Sunday dinner?
So we're going to start getting controversial, aren't we? But
yeah.
for us, it's got to be something called a Yorkshire pudding, which is kind of like it's like pancake based batter, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have that, and it's some kind
roast of beef or roast pork or gammon and
belly pork.
Crackling,
it's got to be done. Mashed potatoes, any amount of vegetables that you want, and it's got to have gravy. 100% got to have.
Yeah, mashed potatoes without gravy. Yeah, without gravy. Yeah.
Yes, I mean we've got to have roast potatoes. We've got to have mashed potatoes. Any which way the potatoes come, we're for it. Yeah. Parsnips, turnip, and I'm going to want a dinner after this.
I know. It is Sunday, and we didn't have one. We didn't have one today. We were just quick food today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's right around. I think you said it was around 7 or 8 o'clock your time.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's probably supper time.
Yeah.
And let's see what else I was going to say about that. Now let me ask you this. That was one of the things I was going to ask you. Are you guys on a label, or Vicky would be great to have to negotiate, whether or not you get on the label. Do you think it's worth it, or are you guys like, no, then we lose our freedom, our control? When we were about to release Court of Conscience, we had quite a bit of interest, and I think that was the point where
it started to get serious.
We had discussions, and there were certain terms within the contract that I just didn't like at all, and so that we kind of had the opportunity to go with the label at that point, and we just I wasn't keen, you weren't keen. I think the band
too many loopholes.
It was split, and we thought we could release this album through it, but then it's going to impact upon what we do in the future, and I didn't like the idea of that. So without kind of going into all the legalities, so we actually, I got to the point where I was like, I'm sick of this. I just want to have country, because it actually impacted upon our release date as well. And so I was like, you know what, let's just get this out, let's do it ourselves, etc. And then just as we were like literally starting to release, we played the Cambridge Rock Festival, and someone said to us, you really need to meet Daniel, who is involved with the kind of Cherry Red and the distribution. And he was interested in us kind of releasing Court of Conscience through them, and it was
Now at the time, we once we'd sort of turned down the other one, we did have a few other people sort of asking us, and we just, rather than looking, we just turned them down. We said, look, we haven't got time now.
Yeah.
And apparently he was one of them.
Yeah. And they said, please just meet him, and so we did. But it was kind of like that when I was like, I'm not bothered. We're doing this anyway. I feel like, what's it going to add to us? And I literally had that approach. It was like, what are you going to do for us? But he was great, actually, and he was like, what you need, and what can you do yourself, and what do you need us to do, etc. And it was so refreshing. And then I think we all said we're not going to make a decision at that moment in time. We kind of went to the pub round the corner afterwards, and we all, I think, immediately knew that it was the right decision for us. And we've kind of maintained that relationship with Daniel since. So all the albums have kind of gone through the Cherry Red distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but online it's AWAL.
Yeah.
It's a different distributor for the digital.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're doing all of the vinyl ourselves. Actually, they're doing with the CDs, but vinyl.
Yeah. So
So you can only
no.
you can only get the vinyl through us. Yeah.
If you want to take out, if you want to show it off, go ahead. That's what this is about. No, really. If you want to show the album cover again,
the vinyl is only available from our official website, so you can't get that anywhere else. So that's why.
So well, we'll show you.
There
Yeah. So
I mean, it's up to you. I'm not forcing you, but this is your show.
We will take full advantage. So we have obviously, and then we have all lyrics.
And all the lyrics.
All lyrics, and then it comes with its own
anti-static.
No kidding! Oh, excellent! Thank you.
And this also kind of comes within its own case as well, which we've taken off.
Yeah, it's got like it's all protected, but
But that was a bucket list for us. That was something that we wanted to do. Full stop.
Good.
So we were determined to do that for this album.
I think it was one of those things. Whenever you say, "Oh, I'm going to release a record," a lot of times in modern times it's a CD or it's just online. Whereas to me, being a little bit more old school, a record is a vinyl. So that was one of those things. If that's the only one I ever do, I'll die happy.
Yeah.
There you go. No, and you said it's Cherry Red Records, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I've noticed swing towards them with other bands. So they're doing something right, and that's absolutely important.
Yeah,
cater to the bands. I mean, they're trying to cater to their fans. They're trying to create a product that they can give their fans, that can take away, and that they could be proud of. Like you said, Steve, when you show off what you just did, all of those extra features, you've got to be proud of that, and you should be. Excellent.
I mean, we kind of the thing for us, everything that we do, it's what would we like. It's not just about like what's the minimum that you can get away with. It's kind of like, well, how would we like it if it was something that we were buying, and what would we want to hear, and what would we want to look at, and so we did not cut any corners with this album at all. We took the time to kind of get it how we wanted it. And so and it's the first time as well, it's for us as well. We talked about that democracy previously with there being 5 of us. There's 2 of us now, and we kind of are making all the decisions, and the freedom that comes with that is immense, and it's made the process for us so much more fluid, really.
Well, you couldn't have segued any better. I was about to just talk about politics, because you guys mentioned what's it like over here, and you probably have seen on TV. We've been dealing with 2 years of literal hell from a president who never should have been in office. And I'm not afraid to be political. I was an undergraduate political scientist, but but I think his time is very quickly coming in a couple months here. You guys have also gone through some changes, and it seems, and I guess without getting too deep into politics, this new guy seems to be making a lot of people happy. What's your feeling?
Asking us about politics. That's
the funny thing was we were on holiday when he sort of came in, so we were a little bit totally oblivious to any news. We were in a like a cabin.
Well, I guess I'm kind of going to give a more general answer, which is that I think it's the same here as it is everywhere, which is that people's kind of what's the word? How they feel about politicians, their faith in politicians. It's just, it's not non-existent, but it's as near to non-existent. You know, everybody, there's almost like it's come to a point when nobody feels that anybody's kind of fulfilling the criteria. And it's becoming difficult because you're feeling like, and I suppose that's a lot where kind of people's frustrations, etc., and especially I suppose mine are coming out in lyrics and things like that. And it's not just about politics; it's about technology and the changing world and what can you believe in anymore, and what can you kind of not. And so I think the jury's always out with everybody, because it's like everything, isn't it? You can only give people time to show what they can do and what they can't do. I mean, Andy Burnham in particular, who you're talking about, the Prime Minister, he's nearer to us, because I suppose with us being, I guess, the true North, you know,
Manchester,
we do generally get kind of forgotten about a little bit. So he is nearer to us, and he was extremely popular in his previous role. But yeah, it's people's kind of faith generally, and it's like, yeah, let's actions speak louder than words, really.
I think
he certainly seems to be a more effective communicator. But yeah, I think whatever your political persuasion, I think everybody's not quite feeling that anybody's ticking the boxes right now.
I think what you're saying is give it a year or two, and then we can evaluate more. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I think when politicians sort of do as I say but not as I do, and I think that really puts them in a bad light and things like that.
For me, I just want honesty and fairness. And I think so many people feel the same way. So whatever your political persuasion is, you know, you can have two people have different opinions on something, but it's about having the respect for each other's opinions. That's where kind of it starts, you know, getting a little bit difficult. But
it's too polarized. It's almost like you're right or you're wrong, and there's no in between. And there is a lot of grey areas.
But what I was going to say is, as far as the politicians are concerned, it's just about really just tell us the truth. If it's an absolute mess and you need to do X, Y, and Z to get out of it, just don't sugarcoat it. That's my opinion. Just tell us it as it is, because the thing is, it's always going to unravel at some point. You know, if you say something that's you're always going to kind of catch yourself out at some point. So just tell, and I would have so much more respect for somebody coming out and saying that, or even saying, you know what, I really messed up there. I really made a mistake. I hear exactly what you're saying right now. Let me do something about that. Let me sort it out. Because doing the job that I do, most of the time it's about managing people's expectations. It's not actually about what you do. It's about making sure that, you know, you communicate. If someone said, well, you give me a ring back, and nobody gives them a ring back, then they're going to think, well, what's going on here now? If you haven't got the time to do that, but if someone gets in touch with them and says, you know, I'm really sorry, they've got stuck doing this, or there's this emergency that's come up or whatever, you know, we'll make sure someone gives you a ring back tomorrow, and somebody gives them a ring back tomorrow, then people are happy with that most of the time, you know, not everybody. But like I say, it's just tell us it how it is, be honest, be fair, and I think you can go a long way with that. But that's what we're not necessarily getting with a lot of politicians, and I think that's across the board in every country, in every kind of walk of life, really.
And I think you're absolutely right that we, you know, all have financial situations, things that go on in our individual lives. So we know how to get through those. We know how to overcome those, and we're not afraid. And I think what you're saying is perfectly true, that don't be afraid to tell people. They know things happen, you know, problems occur, and but how are you going to fix it? And not only how, but let's see you do it, prove it.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, I think as well, is if there's something that's absolutely major, it's massive, put your egos to one side, get round the table, you know, talk to your opponents, if you like. Some things are more important, and I think people would respect politicians for doing that. But let's see, jury's out at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we got a guy that just walked in the door and said, "I'm going to challenge everything that's ever been done," and no one was expecting that. I mean, we knew that it would be bad, but we never thought he would challenge every single constitutional.
I mean, I suppose I just feel like we're kind of we're living in a world, like, putting the kind of politics to one side, because I generally try not to talk politics when it comes to the music, because people are not really interested in my politics. You know what I mean? Because we will appeal to people of different persuasions, and I'm not about kind of telling people what to do or imposing my opinion or anything like that. But yeah, I think that's we're living in this world, generally speaking, where everything kind of seems upside down, inside out. We just don't really feel like we have a normal anymore. And I think that's making people, a little bit, and then obviously we get into the mental health side of things as well, that people kind of really are struggling with, and because we have this culture where everything's 24 hours, and we have the kind of the news that they're always looking for stories and everything, we're hearing all of the negative, and so that's kind of really getting to everybody, really, isn't it? It's and we just don't feel like we have a normal anymore, and that's really sad. And it actually leads me on to the kind of the Sleepwalk trilogy, really, which is, that the idea of Gone, which is the beauty, the simplicity, and that was more about technology, etc. But the idea that where's that kind of gone, really? It's we didn't know, what utopia was until we lost it, really. Yeah.
There you go. Let's talk about, we'll get off the politics here. Are there any bands that you would like to collaborate with or work with in the future? I always like these collaborations because sometimes some incredible stuff comes out of them, but not everyone believes in it. But how do you feel?
There's a couple. Well, there's some we'd like to do something with Rasmus. We've talked about that.
The Rasmus. I mean, honestly, there are so many bands that we have so much respect for, and it's not limited to kind of a particular type of music either. Because
you guys have been with Stream of Passion, Pineapple Thief, Coma, some of the bands you've opened for or played.
So we, it's the type of music that we're listening to is kind of really diverse, and I mean, if I'd have had the opportunity to have sung with Marie Fredriksson from Roxette, then I would have loved that. But sadly, she was my kind of big inspiration growing up. But sadly, she's no longer with us. But I mean, collaboration wise, where would you start? I mean, Queen is a band that I kind of, we've got so much kind of respect for, and I was talking about this not so long back. I really love Adam Lambert, and this is probably controversial, but this is my opinion. Adam Lambert, I thought, was absolutely phenomenal as their front kind of person when he I mean, I know it's not a permanent thing as such, but when he went out on tour with them, and I personally would love to sing with him. I would love to kind of do something with kind of Queen. That would be phenomenal. Muse is another kind of band that we really love as well.
He's a side sort of a side sway. There's Mark King from Level 42.
I absolutely love Level 42. I love funk. I love the bass guitar. And we were very, very lucky to meet Mark King. I would absolutely love to do something with him, be it him playing kind of bass or even singing. I mean, some of his solo material I really love as well. and that Bit of Moon song that he brought up, I love that song. But there are just so many bands, there are so many kind of potential opportunities for us. I mean, even down to there's a band here called Curb Grinder, and their singer stroke drummer Johan has become a really good friend of ours. We met them at the Cambridge Rock Festival that we played quite a few years ago now. And he actually he performed on Dear Diary in the last album. But Curb Grinder, what a phenomenal band that they are. And I sang on Chronicles of the Dark Machine and a couple of songs for them there. So yeah, there is just so much talent kind of out there. If it's good, if it's, we feel it, we're down for it, really.
Doesn't matter about the genre.
Doesn't matter about the genre. It doesn't matter how big the band is. If we like what they do, then we're down for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about Queen. I just had to mention Paul Rogers is one of my favorite singers, but that fit was never going to happen. I mean, he was never, I don't know if you remember that. It was a short 1 year.
I think we had the opportunity to see them, but we couldn't go.
Yeah.
But we did get to see with
Adam Lambert. I mean, I do know that because it's funny how we've kind of come to this a couple of times, isn't it? But we saw him perform, and he was the first person to say, I'm not Freddie. I'm not trying to be Freddie. Yeah. He's kind of up there. Nobody can beat Freddie. I'm just here trying to sing my songs, trying to do my thing. But what a voice. What a voice and what a performer. Absolutely amazing. So I would love to sing with him.
The same guy that did Journey too. I mean, a lot of Journey fans were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, and Steve is incredible, and they really should have given Steve, a first chance at it. But I think that guy did a pretty good job, actually, and he was just doing the same thing, kind of filling in. But
I think you've got to take things as they are, haven't you? You not compare people. I mean, I suppose it's a bit like, for example, Nightwish have had various different singers.
Yes.
And, it's not fair on the singer to kind of compare them with other singers because they're not going to be the same, and people have got different ranges, etc. And so if you like somebody, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But you don't have to be rude about it.
No,
I wouldn't care. The first time we heard about Nightwish was Dark Passion Player. So my first experience wasn't with Taja. So when we I really like this, and I went back and got the other ones, I went, actually, there's quite a bit of a difference in vocal technique. But I still appreciate everything they've done.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen any of this, but I've noticed a lot lately in some of these magazines online, people coming out of the woodwork and saying, well, this guy was horrible. I hated his music. And or this lady, and going back and forth, going back to like the 60s and the 70s. Where were you back then? And why now? People shouldn't do that. I worked at a record store a long time ago, and I was never a Grateful Dead fan. And the owner of the store threw on a Grateful Dead album, and I was like, why are you playing this? This is terrible. I hate this. He goes, Mark, do you know anything about these guys? I said, no. They have been all over the world. They get tens of thousands of people that show up at their shows. It's almost like a festival every time. They have a following. People like them. I obviously, but so you got to open your mind, and that opened my mind way back, I don't know, 15, 16 years old. And now I don't do that. I mean, I'll tell my wife, and, I know in my heart, I don't like this, but I don't broadcast that, and really we shouldn't. And I see a lot of that lately, which is really, it's sad. I mean, for these, and they're all big people in their own right, but they're going after the Beatles, they're going after the Stones, they're going after all these bands that, had they not been there, you wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And they're not perfect. No one's saying that, they're not angels, whatever the case, but they made some of the greatest music of all time. And, it's just funny. And punk bands do it to punk bands, new wave do it to new wave. And it's just, we don't need it. I don't think. It's sad. I try not to read it anymore.
Yeah.
Is that or no?
If everybody liked the same type of music, then we're just going to get the same type of music everywhere. You need to have that diversity of.
I think when you first start out doing,
You're giving AI a chance, to okay,
Yeah.
if you want this program, here's what you're going to get, and
Yeah.
be stuck with it. Yeah, and nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vicky. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say when we first kind of started out, and you see kind of reviews and what people kind of commenting about, have really kind of got my eyes opened. And I think, as time goes on, you become older, you get wiser with it all, and you develop more of a thick skin with it, really. But some things really do kind of stick in your head. And I know that, when I've watched kind of interviews of some of the greats, kind of, that they do too. You'll have 9 positive reviews, you'll have 1 negative, and it's the 1 negative one that you remember. But it's kind of like, people are entitled to the opinion. Not everybody is going to like you, and you appreciate that, and that's absolutely fine. And people can say comments, and they can have constructive criticism and all the rest of it. But what really kind of gets my goat is when people have got to be kind of just rude about it, and
Personal
about it. And there's really no need for that. But in some respects, that shows more about the person that's writing it than it does about us.
You don't
I think it's that polarized opinions again, isn't it? Going back to what we were talking about before.
And especially that there's always been this kind of emphasis on female fronted, and that really, yes, I understand that if there's a kind of a female singer or whatever, but I always used to say, I'm 20% of the band here. There was 5 of us at the time. I'm 20% of the band. What does it matter what the main kind of the singer of the band is doing? What gender they are as such? What difference kind of does that make?
They don't pull out a female guitarist band or.
But it seems to be that it's kind of like, we had something recently where they said, kind of that's 20 years. That's 20 years ago. That's out of date. What that was have a singer that's female. So it's very much kind of like you never have that conversation about a male-fronted band at all.
It's not fair. Yeah, because I actually, and this is a different perspective, and I try to say this every time I can. I listen to men all my childhood and, all the way up through the 80s and 90s. It is so damn nice to hear a female leading. If you notice, and I try not to be blatant about it, but a lot of the bands that I cover have a female singer, and it's just to hear something different. I mean, I Led Zeppelin, but you hear that every single day. No, and Genesis, some of my favorites, but it actually is refreshing, and I don't understand why people don't want to hear something different. It is. It puzzles
me.
But
I mean, for me, it's just about the fact it shouldn't even be a conversation as such, because I mean, if you are going to look at it, if I think about what I listen to, it's mainly male-fronted kind of bands. I don't generally listen to kind of female-fronted bands. If you look at the type of
but it's
things
not by choice.
it's not by anything other than I like the sound of that band.
Yeah.
Not that well, I'm writing off, anybody that's kind of got a female as the lead, or that's already been done. I mean, it's just I don't mind if you don't like what I do, but don't judge it by the fact that, in an already saturated market. What does that mean? I mean, if you're going to apply that, you would apply that to kind of male-fronted bands. It's
more
just
saturated, isn't it?
a nonsense. Then bands generally it's oversaturated. So I think for me, it's just kind of not necessarily be kind, but don't bring in things that are completely irrelevant. Don't be rude. If you don't like it, fair enough. Don't review it. Don't listen to it.
Stream
Go on to
something
something else.
Yeah.
But I think so people don't realize the impact that words have.
If she's singing well, she's singing the notes right. What else? Yeah, you either don't like a female voice, and you have a right to that, or keep it to yourself, or tell your friends or whatever, but keep it off of social media and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, let's get into your album because I feel terrible. We've been talking about everything else, but so you start out with Sleepwalker Part 1, 2, and 3. So tell us about that trilogy. Where did the inspiration come? What it's about? And go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's like technology, really, isn't it? It's that kind of the build-up of, the internet and all of the social media and just
devices,
AI, etc. And how when it first started, it's that very exciting. Everybody's kind of on board and wondering what's next, how's this going to improve our lives, etc. And then it's almost like, well, give it time, and then people can see how they can make money out of this and how they can manipulate it. And then it's seeing that darker side to technology, essentially. And that's really what it's about. What are we kind of sleepwalking into?
Yeah, it's that integration of real life with devices. Even if you think now, can you go a day without your phone? I mean, we've got kids. We'll say, look, can you come off your phone? But if you think about it, if you go to the city and you park your car, a lot of parking machines, you can't put cash in anymore. You need to use your phone or just to transfer some money or go into a shop. A lot of shops won't even take cash. So it's that integration, which is the thing I think that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's that kind of, are you consuming, or are you consumed? It's just that kind of, hang on a minute, let's just take a step back here. What's really kind of going on? What's real? So that's what it's about. It was just kind of, just looking at it from a different angle.
My wife and I can't remember the name of it, and I really don't want people to watch it because it scared the hell out of me. But they interviewed some of these big AI CEOs and things like that, and they're like, not only is this going to take over, it's already happening. Within maybe 5-10 years, you guys are all going to be out of jobs, and you deserve to be, because machines need to take over. They're better. They've learned from us. All these, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, do you realize you're a human?
Yeah.
The CEO, but once that thing decides it doesn't need a CEO, on too. And so it's like, do you think about what you're saying? But I wish I could remember the name of the show, but in some ways I don't want to, because it's they try to look at it, a couple of other different perspectives, but the one that stays with you is the very pessimistic view. And it really is. I mean, we're just dancing around this notion of AI making music, but there is so much more out there, especially the military side effects that are very, very scary.
I mean, it's everything. You know, every kind of career you can think. I think that's why they're talking about people kind of moving more into the kind of electrics, the plumbing, the things like that they possibly can't, you know, touch in the not
It's
too
physical
future.
careers,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but I mean, such as what I'm doing at the moment, there's a very likelihood that kind of my job could be taken over by
Yeah.
AI as well. So, yeah,
Doctors, professionals kind of
yeah,
feel like we're safe. You know, teachers, no. Uh,
Yeah,
scientists, all of these things can
yeah,
be, everyone can be
yeah,
replaced. And if you
yeah, yeah,
can't look yourself or look in the mirror and say that, then you're denying everything. And
yeah,
it's scary, and it's all the time that you put into getting your degree. Me,
yeah,
uh, these guys can do it. You know, there's kids graduating with doctorates now, but there's these machines can duplicate everything you're doing.
yeah,
Whether or not it's up to the same quality, definitely that needs to be analyzed. But it absolutely, and the other part is the from our one of the fights that we're having over here, and I don't know if you guys are having this, but the resources that it needs, the
yeah,
water, the electricity. I mean, people are having, you know, their power go out because the AI
yeah,
yeah.
center data center needs that power, or their
Mhm,
water is turned to mud, or you know, whatever. uh,
mhm,
that really starts having an immediate effect, and
mhm.
it's been good because over here there's a huge movement to sort of slow down the building of these sites. Are you guys having that trouble or that excuse me, that situation over there?
I think there's a lot of building going on at the moment for growth, more so for housing and things like that. But there's a lot of what would have been fields for farming is getting turned into solar panel fields. And obviously, with the weather we've been having recently, where we've had a lot of wildfires that we don't really usually have, especially this far north,
Yeah,
because all that land is getting scorched. I'm thinking, well, hang on, where are we going to actually? We can feed our AI, but we can't feed the people.
There you
yeah.
go.
It's kind of
Yeah.
it's our they say. I mean, it's that global kind of change anyway, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because was it the fifth heat wave that we've had
yeah.
Yeah.
recently? In the we're getting much hotter summers over here. When we just came back from
So
Wales,
we've
yeah,
never had the need for air conditioning.
no, not at
You're
all.
only going to get fancy
And
shops.
and then you're finding that, hang on a minute, temperatures are going up. Do we need some air conditioning kind of over here? We're not equipped for that. We don't have the infrastructure for that. We're having wildfires, and we've never heard of that really.
You got the odd
know,
ones, and it was usually somebody who done something daft with a barbecue or something like that, but not just
so I suppose,
all of a sudden.
yeah, and drought and so there's talk about kind of horse pipe bans and all of this type of thing. So you're getting a problem anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you've
This is
got kind of the AI factor to add on to that as well,
Nowhere
it's a
safe.
scary world that
the,
we're living in.
the funny thing is, in hindsight, when I first left school, college, I worked at Curry's, which is electrical retailers, and it was sort of the late 90s, and the internet was just sort of starting. It was dial up and modems and things
Sure.
like that.
I remember.
And the head office came one day and they gave us loads of these business cards, and they says, right, whenever you sell anything, give one of these business cards out, and it's got the website and where you can go on and you can buy your batteries, you can buy all your peripherals to go with it. And I remember saying to the manager, I says, I'm not going to give this out. I'm doing myself out of a job.
Yeah.
And he says, well, no, yeah, but it's batteries, it's peripherals, which was the high profitable stuff. I says, yeah, but if
Once
that
you start.
takes hold, they'll go on to something bigger like a hi-fi or this or that. Oh no, they're never going to buy washing machines online. And what's happened? So that was my
Right, thousands.
first, and I
Yeah.
could see it even then, just as a part-time salesperson.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen it. It's just that that to me was when I noticed this sort of globalized sort of internet invasion.
No,
But
you're
at the
right.
time, I didn't know. It was just everybody thought I was the
Well,
daft one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's progression, isn't it? And I suppose
Yeah,
in
it
some
is.
respects, you can see the
Mhm.
positives for that. We can
Yeah.
all see the positives for that. But there is, like everything, there's a positive and there's a negative.
Yeah.
It's what your priorities are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everything in moderation, isn't it?
Definitely. All right,
Mhm.
let's talk about Nobody. It's an excellent, another excellent song. Your lyrics are very good, Vicky and Dee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody, I suppose it's about expectations, really. It's kind of that well-worn path of what you're supposed to do with your life, kind of go down this route. And it used to be kind of go get your degree, the professions at the time that people were wanting you to kind of go into law, become a doctor, etc. I mean, it's changed since then. It's like more influencer type of things now. But it was that kind of well-worn path of this is what you've got to do to be successful. And then it's kind of like, hang on a minute, where do your feelings fit in with this? What if that doesn't feel right? I know people kind of suffer from imposter syndrome. It was really, really interesting. I went on this as part of what I do, that they kind of have these professional get-togethers, and one of them, they were talking about these squiggly careers, so that rather than people just kind of going from the top to bottom, people are kind of finding that they're doing lots of different things now.
It's not a linear path anymore.
It's not a linear path. And there were various people doing talks about their careers, etc. And somebody said, right, okay, can we have a show of hands, please? Who has imposter syndrome in this room? And I would say 90% of people put their hands up, because people kind of feel like, and I didn't realize that, because I know I've got imposter syndrome, and I didn't realize how many other people had imposter syndrome. I think most people kind of do, and either the bravado's kind of hiding that, or but being honest about it. I think a lot of people do have imposter syndrome, and it's about, right, so are you where you are because you have imposter syndrome, or is it really not the right route for you? It's not just kind of like something that you've got to get through to get to the other side, and kind of facing your fears, etc. And is it just really not for you? And I think it's that idea of your feelings matter more now. That's one good thing that I've found, is that people are talking more about their feelings now. That that doesn't feel right for me. That's not the right fit for me. That might be the one path that everybody else has kind of gone down, but that doesn't mean it's right for me. And it's that kind of one of my favorite lines in the lyrics that I've done on this album is, no expectations. I don't live for you. I live for me. Your money's not my currency. And I think it's when you kind of realize, you take a step back and you're like, no, it's not what that career kind of person told me. It's not what my teachers told me was the right thing to do. It's what's right for me, what I believe. Nobody tells you. You find your own kind of path, and then when you fight back against that, and the freedom that you find from that. So it's basically that expectations, and like letting go of everybody else's expectations and just doing what's right for you is essentially what it's about.
And then my imagination, we all can remember when that was so vital to us when we were little kids and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just as vital when you get older. And we forget about that. We're like, no, you can't play games anymore. It's all about bringing in the money or whatever. But so good that you mentioned this. Go ahead and talk about that, because we still need that dreaming. Otherwise, you don't know where you're going or you do.
I mean, actually,
yeah.
It's and yeah, I mean, sometimes it's about, people are kind of saying it's about making the money and all the rest of it. And I actually went from working 5 days a week to working 4 days a week, and finding how much more productive I was working 4 days a week than I was 5 days a week, because you need kind of that time to switch off.
Yep.
It really, it actually being truthful about this, it was about a hypnotism experience that I had.
Oh, wow.
And it was the talk about kind of going down the stairs, and they're saying, you know, have this room that you create, and there's a control room that's there. And it was kind of talking to your subconscious and what have you. But she was describing to me about having an empty room, and but you put in that room whatever you want to put in that room. What do you want to put in there? And it made me think about, yeah, it looks like an empty room to everyone else, but you know, I can put in here what I want. If I want it to be hot, I want it to be cold. You know, she said, put that, you know, big comfy chair in the middle, and you can feel that. And it was just, I really liked it. I really liked how the calming nature of it. And it just really got me thinking about, you know, and it's like I say, these kind of practices now, and not realizing how important it is to just kind of take a breath, you know, because I've not realizing this, but I think I've suffered from a lot of anxiety a lot of my life, and kind of figuring a lot of it out, overthinking and all the rest of it, and you know, some techniques that I've started using over the time, but yeah, so it is about that, your imagination. You could always go to that place, and that's your happy place, but your happy place is going to be different to somebody else's happy place, you know?
There's a lot of with your lyrics though as well.
Yeah.
Even though you would write for a specific scenario, they're always written in such a way that it could be interpreted differently depending who's listening to it and what frame of mind they're in.
And I like,
you've always done that.
And I really like that, because sometimes people have reviewed our albums, the songs and things like that, and I've looked at it, I've thought, that's actually not what that's not personally what I was writing about, but I quite like what you've come up with there. Yeah.
Well, that might happen on this next one. Silence. I don't know if you guys remember the song Wasted Time by the Eagles.
Yes.
That's what I envision with silence, but you tell me if I'm wrong.
So silent, I mean, I'm this is very much so sometimes I write about what I've seen, be it at work, documentary, etc. This is very much a personal experience for me, silence, and it's about me just kind of overthinking, procrastinating. Yeah, no problem.
Go ahead. Sorry. I hate when you don't sneeze, because you usually get a headache.
Yes, yeah.
But go ahead.
But yeah, it's about me kind of being an overthinker, being a procrastinator, and kind of like, you know, getting stuck with it really. And it's this kind of situation where, I mean, the lyrics are literal in that kind of, you know, I would write an email or write a kind of WhatsApp messenger and just not get a response, which kind of spoke louder to me than, you know, an actual, you know, to putting a few words down in response to it. You know, that told me everything that I needed to know, but I just couldn't pull myself away when I needed to. And then it came the point where it was like, right, no, that's it. You know, and I talked about in the middle of it that I give advice to others, but I'm not listening to myself. Yeah. And again, I think a lot these last few years is about, no, that's it. You know, that's not working. What do we do about that? Not being stuck anymore, and kind of really, you know, focusing about what do I want, you know, and what's not working for me, and yeah. So I think there's a lot of that going on with this album.
All right, prove you wrong.
Yeah. So. This is about the narcissist, really.
When you talk about the songs and what they're about, I always go, yeah,
yeah. This about a narcissist being in charge, and again, you know,
you can talk about the music too if you want, but go ahead.
Yeah, about the narcissist kind of being in charge and moving away from that. That's, you know, you can say things about me, you can, you know, create an impression about me to other people, but I'm going to prove you wrong, and you know, you don't need to be around to see that. I'm just kind of going to get on and do my thing. So yeah, very kind of similar thing going on here, and I suppose that's why we did release we called the EP, when we released 3 tracks digitally, Therapy, because that's what it was for me. It was
a bit of reset for the band, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, rise. I will rise. And yes.
What I'll say, because musically, I'll put my bit in now if you want, because it's to do with all of the songs really. Usually when we wrote as a 5-piece, we all had our own roles. And obviously I did all the orchestration and the piano, that type of thing. But this time, with us having full control over everything and writing everything, we had to sort of learn some new skills, and rather than producing or advising on what we wanted for guitars, we had to actually write, and same with the drums. So we had obviously Rude on board, and we sent them the stuff. So a lot more time was spent doing things that I wouldn't normally be doing. So I think the guitars got a lot more,
more than the keys, actually.
a lot more attention, high attention, because obviously I felt I had to work harder at it. Same a little bit with the drums as well. But we had Rude and Owen, they're fantastic. They were able to interpret what we wrote really well. And I think Owen mentioned something in one of his vlog videos that he's tried to keep it as true to what we did as possible, apart from when I maybe give him an extra arm when too many drums at the same time. But other than that, it worked really well, and it was, again, back to that therapy. It was it's a learning curve for us.
For us.
So we're really pleased that it got the reception that it did get, because I think it was not that we were worried about it. It was more, I hope that this lands as well as previous stuff, and it's not so different that
people are saying it's not Winter.
It's not Winter Need anymore, and I think the opposite's happened. They said it is Winter Eden. It's a little bit heavier, but we like it, and you should embrace that further. But that's across all of the songs, which is why it's. I don't want to say that for every song. But right, so Rise, because obviously that one had guitars on there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we had the guitars on that one. So that was I think that was one of the first, or one of the early ones where we really had to work on a guitar-driven song rather than an orchestration or a piano one. But it came about because our son, he came down one day and says, "I've wrote some lyrics," and he showed me them. I says, "All right, where have you got those from?" He says, "I've wrote them." I said, "Are you sure? It's not AI, is it?" No, I says, "And you haven't taken it from anywhere?" No, I've wrote them. So we had a look. We did some checks, and true enough, he wrote them. He's into computer programming again, back in the technology side of things, and he wants to do computer games, and he writes stories and things like that. But he wanted some music to go with it, so he says, "Right, we'll sort it out," and that's what we did.
So he wrote the lyrics, and we wrote the music around it.
That is, congratulations. That's good. You got them involved.
Yeah.
So
and since then,
I think at first we were just going to do it to help him out and let him put it on his YouTube thing that he does, but it turned out
we really enjoyed the song.
So
and what I love about this is it's really kind of, as a family, we're kind of, that they're enjoying our music. We've got 2 kids, and they're both enjoying our music. And in the early stages, we weren't expecting that at all. We didn't want to be the embarrassing parents, etc. But they really love what we do, which is great.
No, that's very important. Most kids are like, "I don't like this music," or something like that. But good. I'm glad they like it. They don't want to be associated with it because it's older or whatever. But that's good that they do. Good. All right. Go ahead with Impossible Dream. It's another great, well, they're all great songs, but.
So this was essentially for my dad who passed in 2019. So it was basically the idea of kind of a dream of kind of meeting up with him again, and the idea, I suppose, of some kind of heaven you know, and what that would look like and how I would see him. And then obviously kind of coming back down to you know, out of the dream as such, and then what was that just happened. And you know, there were no words, there were no questions. Why didn't I ask this? Why didn't I ask that? And it was just that idea of yeah, it being you know, being able to kind of talk to my dad essentially without words essentially. So yeah.
All right. And then the closing song, Show Me. And you do show me. It is absolutely brilliant, but go ahead and tell us about that one.
That one was a bit of a curveball, wasn't it?
Yes.
That got added in. It was actually a song that the sort of the bones of it was something we wrote 20 years ago, if not more, before we even sort of did Winter in Eden. And I don't know whether we came across a tape or we came across something, we thought we could do something with that. And
it was actually called Untold.
Right.
Yeah. So we thought, well, we can't keep that title because of the name of the album. And we thought, well, it says Show Me all the way through, so that makes more sense, doesn't it, really? So, but yeah, so we kind of added a little bit of a Winter in Eden twist to it. And yeah, we're really
some of the lyrics are tweaked a little bit.
Just very slightly. Most of them were exactly the same. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, the funny thing was, you'd think if you had a song that was finished in its own right, it wasn't released or anything like that, it was just before we sort of went through or anything like that. You think it would be, it'll be dead easy. We'll just stick some guitars on, we'll put it, and it was probably one of the hardest songs to fully produce, because no matter what was on the screen or coming out the speakers, it's so ingrained in our heads that that's what we're hearing. So it was very difficult to sort of step back and listen to it with fresh ears, because it's something. And I think because of the huge time difference, even though we hadn't heard it for a long, long time, when you do hear it, it takes you back to that moment. So you keep trying to recreate it, and then as soon as you realize, hang on, no, I need to bring it forward, not just re-record what was already there. So it was, again, that was I mean, I wouldn't mind trying it with some of our other songs. That's nothing, because I mean, being a keyboard player when we were at school, it was very much poppy stuff, pop rock, you know, I mean, the what would have been charts at the time. So a lot of our influences was even 80s music. So it's some of that stuff we'd listen to, and how would we actually work that into a Winter in Eden song? So I think what we'd do is, rather than try and shoehorn them in, we'd just maybe listen to some old tapes one day over a drink or something like that, and just see if anything it comes up, and just see if it comes naturally rather than force it.
All right. Winter in Eden's Never Untold. Please get out there and give it a listen. I think once you hear it, you'll love it. You'll want to hear more. Are you guys working on the next one yet, or not even thinking about it, or maybe have some ideas? Go ahead.
We've definitely got ideas. We want to continue with the sleepwalk kind of. We don't want the story to end there, essentially. So we've got ideas. I mean, that for me, the songwriting is the most important part of what we do. So, and I'm desperate to kind of start recording and get back to it again.
Yeah. Same here. I've got loads of ideas, but obviously we've got rehearsal things to do. There's obviously the logistics of, well, interviews and all the other stuff that goes with the release. So we're just trying to get over the hump of that, and then I think
we'll be back to it.
We'll be back to it. Probably in autumn, I would think. Or fall.
And then just, I don't know, we have to ask these questions, but projections next year, the year after, potentially releasing it.
You know,
there's no hurry here.
It will be what it will be, essentially, because I think anytime we kind of put limits on it, something kind of crops up to spoil it, doesn't it?
It could be personal things, professional things, just logistics with the music. You know, I mean, for example,
and even cost.
I think you said you had a family. You have a family too, so you know all that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's kind of lots going on as such, and I suppose the other side of the coin is with it being kind of the two of us, and us also being a couple, you know, then there's the financial aspect of it as well. So it's, you know, it's 100% you kind of our risk as such. So so yeah, it's a mixture of a lot of things, but one thing that we know is that we love to write, we love to do what we do, and we'll never stop.
And that's what we want to hear. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, let me just ask you, do you guys have anything else that you wanted to talk about that I missed? I think we've been talking about a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff.
I was going to say, I think we've covered everything and more.
I think the only thing I would say is to everybody listening there, support live music, support new bands as well as the big hitters. Buy the music, buy direct if you can. I mean, streaming's great and it gets people to hear new stuff, but it doesn't necessarily pay to get the next album recorded or anything like that. So try and go to not just ourselves, any band, support them, go to the gigs, because without people going to the gigs, venues close down, the bands struggle, and then you'll lose a lot of talent. We need to keep them wanting to carry on and or able to carry on. They may have the will, but if they can't make it, I'm not saying pay to give them a living, but even if it just funds the next project, that keeps it going, and it keeps the AI fingers out of the out of the creative products.
Anything else, Vicky, or anything else at all?
No, honestly, I think we've covered everything and much more than I anticipated.
We probably put everybody to sleep and gone. I said we would go dark and deep.
No, that was all right. Okay.
Yeah, but thank you very much.
No, you're more than welcome. Yeah, I've been wanting to interview you guys. I've been wanting to review one of your albums, and we finally made it. But thank you very much, both of you, Vicky and Steve. And again, Winter in Eden, Never Untold. Please get out there and give it a listen. And I think that's all you'll need. I'm going to go ahead and pause. Any last things you want to say?
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for having us on, and hopefully keep in touch.
Thank you to everybody that's kind of supported us so far, that's gone out and bought the albums, bought the vinyls, kind of taken that time to reach out. You know, we really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Just stay with me a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and pause things. Thank you for all your time.